Oh, g'day, champions. Who let you in? Just a quickie today. Well, I bloody hope it's a quickie anyway. Just a demonstration that even Canadians know how to build really fucking stupid amps. And don't get me wrong, champions. I love Canadians, Commonwealth solidarity and whatnot. Plus, they make better whiskey than Americans. Shh, don't tell anyone. So this one on the model down there, it says YS1034. Over here, it's YCV80. So this is a Traynor. Traynor when the, I don't know how you pronounce it, Traynor. When the customer told me they had an old Traynor to drop off for a check over, I got really excited. I thought it might be an old Bassmaster or a Guitar Mate, YG, YB, MG. Why do all the numbers start with Y? Is it because Yorkville? I don't know. Very hard to remember all the numbers. I don't know why. Why? Get it? We just did a service to this one. I've done a recap to it because a lot of the caps were bulgy and physically leaking, although they hadn't fully failed yet. I had to mount some underneath the valve sockets there, so I had to mount them sideways because I didn't have any short little ones the same size as the factory ones. I only had a higher voltage rating. That'll do the job with a bit of silicone, it'll be fine. Got very close to the sockets there on some of them. The sockets don't actually bolt to anything, but all the sort of stressed solder joints, they all have like a rivet, like an eyelet in the circuit board. So I replaced the screen dropper because it doesn't have a choke with a same value, but just lifted up a bit and cleared the silicon underneath that was blocking all that. They drilled holes in the circuit board to allow airflow, and then they put silicon on the resistor and put it hard against the board. Crazy. I've upgraded the screen grid resistors. It only had, I think they were 100 ohm, might have been 200 ohm. I've replaced them with 1K. It's got 4 588 ones in it, and it's got a strange auto, sort of semi-auto bias circuit. It's not computerized or anything. It's just some transistors giving some feedback. But it's got the Fender-esque type, PV-ish type circuit board methodology, I guess you could call it, down there. Single-sided, very thin copper, tiny pads. So to get it out, I think there was 20 screws in that long friggin' output board and power supply board. And there wasn't many fewer in the preamp board. Crazy amount of screws. Like, I get they are pretty much the only thing holding all these valves straight, but it's just the construction method, man. Like, I couldn't dream this shit up if I was on acid after a 3-day bender. I don't know how they think that this convoluted, complex design is like the easiest way to do. It just blows my mind. Like, what are they smoking? I mean, I know weed's legal there, but back then I don't think it was. So here's the cabinet, and obviously it just slides straight in, horizontal wise. So of course the controls are on the bottom. So on the test bench, I'm like doing the double Dutch rudder reach around to figure out what I'm adjusting. Should just put a mirror down there, I guess, but having a mirror on the workbench looks a bit suspicious, if you know what I'm saying. It's not the 80s anymore. So yeah, I've got it up and running. It's nice and stable. Everything's cool. The bias is a bit cool, but to adjust that, I'd have to mess with the auto bias circuit, which I don't know that I've budgeted enough time on this one. This customer wants it back yesterday, but the main issue I'm having now, and looking at the schematic and the layout of the thing, it's no wonder. Above certain gain settings, master volume settings, you start getting some severe oscillation. Now, I've just replaced it, had like a kilometre of just loosely twisted wire there on the input, literally from the input jack to the grid stopper, which is mounted half a kilometre away from the input grid. It's only a 2.2k grid stopper too, which is crazy, and it's right next to the output stage where you've got like 300 volts of voltage swing, signal swing, sorry. Just a note, if you do see the occasional little quick edit in these videos, it's because my brain's kind of shit, so I'll have long pauses, cognitive pauses, where I'm trying to think of the right words, and it's not that I'm editing out anything bad I've said. I just sometimes it takes me a while to get the right words, but anyway, moving on. So you've got this massive coupling straight here to the input, which has only got 2.2k on the grids, and that trace down there goes through the grid stopper. I'll just try and do this around the camera, and then it comes all the way, snakes all the way around here to the input grid over there. So we can either cut the trace there and put a bigger resistor, in line. I suggest we do the easiest thing first. We just replace the 2.2 over here with a, I don't know, 47k or something. And the least easy thing is to put a shield in. Now I'll try and do this without shocking myself, but I'll demonstrate the oscillation and then I'll show what happens when I just put this shield between the power amp and the preamp. Now of course this is the high gain channel up this end, and it's got a shit ton of gain and a boost switch, and then the clean channel's over here. I get the logic behind that because you're putting the clean channel closest to the power supply and the noise and whatever that entails. But over here, the reason it's so sensitive to the output stage being 1 inch away from it or less is because it's got a shit ton of gain. You probably get away with it in a low gain setup, but this amp's trying to be all things to all people, and as a result, as always, champions, you know how it goes. It becomes mediocre at kind of everything. Just to look at the cab, it does appear to be reasonably well built and made from pliers. It's got two 7080 Celestians, which aren't my favourite speaker, but they are what they are. There is what they is. And you've got an Tektronix reverb tank down there. It's got a solid state driven and recovered reverb circuit. Now I forgot to mention this is actually 120 volts. So I've got it just dialed in on the variac there to bang on 120, and that's worked out with pretty much exactly 6.3 volts in the heater, so that's good. Alright, so I'll try and do this without shocking myself on those screen grid resistors there or shorting anything out. But there's nothing plugged into the amp, and yes, I've confirmed the input jack is shorting as it should. And I've got the gain. Let's go 12 o'clock on the drive channel. Boost in. We'll crank up the master. Alright, no oscillation there. Bring the gain all the way up, no oscillation yet. But as we start to bring that channel volume up, we get some pretty bad oscillation. Now I'll just plug my guitar in on a stand next to it. Now I've just got my guitar on like 3 on the volume, and it's about 2 meters away on the bench. As I bring the gain up, say the volume 12 o'clock, bring the gain up, you get oscillation. Bring the output up, you get oscillation. Bring the volume up, the master, you get oscillation. Let's get it on the verge. I'll try not to deafen you. Just slip this bit of aluminium in there. See, I'm not even bottoming it out. I'm not even grounded to anything on my body. Just the capacitance of my body is enough to just damp down that feedback there. So I'll just carefully slip that between the two boards and just rest it against the standoff down there. Now we'll see where we're at now. Still wants to go, but that's with everything maxed out now, and that's not really a... I mean, even the guitar's starting to feed back at that point, and it's 2 meters away from the 3 meters away from the speaker. So that's drastically improved it. Let's put a ground clip on that little plate because it's sort of floating in midair. Right, now I've grounded that little sheet. It's just floating between those. It's not fixed to any screws or anything, but I've just grounded it with a alligator clip over there, as you can see. And literally that's all it takes. I can turn everything all the way up now, and it'll be my guitar that is the first thing to feed back from 3 meters away. Let me just damp those strings with a rag and try that again. I got a lot of noise there. That's literally feeding back through the microphonics of the pickup itself because there's a shit ton of gain there. So, design issue with the amp. Don't know what the fuck they're doing. Confirmed it. Anyway, I'm not going to go too much deeper into this thing. I think that shielding will be required, but I'll see how the grid stopping goes first. I'll do the easiest thing first. I'll replace that 2.2k with a, I don't know, 47k or something and just see how that goes. If that doesn't get me where I need to be, I'll cut that trace and put it right next to the grid and just put a link back here. If that doesn't get me where I need to be, then we're going to have to look at folding up a little bit of alley and sticking it under the screws that mount this this power board over here. Yeah, it's a shame you got to do this to these amps when they're designed by people that I don't know. How do you, like, if I do the tiniest, if I miss the tiniest thing, like I'll even forget to give someone a guitar back in drop D tuning when they've asked for that. They literally drive back here and hand my ass to me on a plate. How do these amp manufacturers get away with doing this stuff? I don't know. Maybe they just say you're using it wrong. You're using it wrong. In my opinion, no matter what the fuck you set the controls to, there should not be any chance of oscillation unless you're standing right in front of the output transformer or the speaker box. Yeah, I just don't get it, champions. But anyway, a quickie on this one. I don't even know if I'll bother reporting on this, but just something to watch out for if you do have this model coming in. Alright, champions, I couldn't resist. Let's just show you a quick little trick. So this is 0.5mm thick aluminium flashing used like under window frames, that kind of thing. You can get it cheap as chips from the hardware store. Just score it with a Stanley knife. 4 or 5 times, something like that. Decent pressure. Turn it around. And then you can just put that line on the bench. You just gently bend it with your finger. And you can make little shields that do little fancy tricks that turn you into a genius and solve problems that the previous techs, 5 or 6 techs, couldn't solve, you know? Make little things like that. If you want to cut it off completely, just do the same shit again. You can even make a little channel if you wanted. The sky's the limit. Don't need to make any dust or spread any man glitter around the shop, you know. You can make a little return on that one. That kind of stuff, you know. If you wanted to just have a little bit of angle, just bend it back and forth a few more times and off she comes. There you go, tricks of the trade. It's like a smaller version of a Luca bond, which is that building cladding stuff. So here's a little shield I made for that area there. I've marked the holes for the screws. I'm just going to mount that down underneath that board there, and it'll just be enough to shield that sensitive input circuitry from that output stage. Those valves do protrude up through a hole in the chassis, so the chassis does sort of go right up to that point, and this will only have about a 2mm gap, so that should do the trick, champions. Anyway, I'll catch you on the next one, because this amp isn't worth putting any more video editing time into. Sorry, Traynor, until you send me a bloody wicked vintage amp or something, I probably won't bother filming any more of these. See you on the next one, legends.